Hello all, welcome to the new Simply Put series by EKLAVY Academy. This is Priyanka Mahapatra, faculty at EKLAVY. So today we'll be having a discussion on the newspaper dated 7th of February 2024. Coming to the text and the context section of the Hindu newspaper, one article was important from our exam point of view, that is understanding the delimitation exercise, and everything will be discussed in this discussion. Okay, then coming to the explain section of the Indian Express newspaper, first article about the Uniform Civil Code that has been discussed day before yesterday. You can go through that discussion again, which is there in the EKLAVY Academy playlist. Then coming to the second article, which was important from our exam point of view from the explain section, is the atmospheric river bringing heavy rainfall to California. So these are the two articles which we are going to discuss today, which are displayed on your screen. So the first article is about understanding the delimitation exercise. So here in this discussion, we would talk about that what is delimitation, what is the meaning of delimitation, is there any constitutional backing, what are the articles concerned. Then we would talk about the delimitation commission. Is it a constitutional body or a statutory body? Who appoints that commission? Then we would talk about the unique case of Sikkim, okay, 371F. Then we would talk about the intention behind bringing delimitation exercise after each and every census in India. Okay, what are the benefits and what are the issues and criticism around it? Okay, then we would also talk about the international practices, the case of US and European Union in this case. Then lastly, we would talk about the way forward. Okay, so this is the part of the discussion. So let's get started. So why this is a news? Because after 2026, we are going to have our delimitation of constituencies for the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies. Okay, and it was due from 2021 census, which was originally postponed due to COVID-19 pandemic and subsequently due to delays on the part of central government. Okay, so for this reason, this is in news and this keeps on coming in news. So this becomes important from your exam point of view. Okay, so this is actually important from your GS paper 2 point of view. So coming to the definition, what do you mean by delimitation? So it is an act, it is a process of fixing the number of seats and boundaries of territorial constituencies in each state. So each state is divided into territorial constituencies, and on what basis it will be divided, that is called as delimitation. So it is an act of fixing. Okay, it is act of redrawing the number of seats and boundaries of each territorial constituency in each state for the Lok Sabha and the Legislative Assembly. So please remember that the delimitation is to happen for both Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly, and it represents the changes in demography over time. That is why it is to be done after each and every census in India. And what are the articles of the constitution which is concerned with the delimitation? It is article 82 and 170 of the constitution, which provides that the number of seats in the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies, as well as its division into the territorial constituencies, shall be readjusted after each census. That means it mandates that after each census the delimitation has to happen, okay, for the redrawing of boundaries of the territorial constituencies. So coming to the delimitation commission, so it was constituted under the Act of Parliament in 1952 under the Delimitation Commission Act 1952, right? So if it is set up under an Act of Parliament, then it becomes a statutory body. It is not a constitutional body. Please remember this fact. Okay, so UPSC can trap you. You can also get trapped that is it a constitutional body or a statutory body, but the answer is that it is a statutory body set up under the Act of Parliament in 1952. So delimitation commissions, they have been set up 4 times till now, in 1952, 1963, 1973 and 2002 under the acts of 1952, 1962, 1972 and 2002. And here you can notice that there was no delimitation after the 1981 and 1991 censuses. Okay, and the orders of this commission are final and they cannot be questioned before any court. Okay, and coming to the appointment, The appointment of the members of this commission will be done by the President of India, which works in consultation or collaboration with the Election Commission of India, right? So these are the details you should be remembering from your exam point of view. So, but there is a unique case of Sikkim over here. So as you all know that Sikkim joined the Indian Union in 1975, and we added a special article, that is Article 371F, and it was included to protect their interest of the Sikkimese people and to ensure their adequate representation in the legislature. Therefore, this Article 371F, it allows the government to make changes, okay, with respect to the representation in the state legislature without constituting a fresh delimitation commission every time. So we can conclude here that Article 170 does not apply to Sikkim. So 170, just now we studied that it is concerned with the state legislature, concerned with the delimitation exercise in the state legislature. So this Article 170 does not apply to Sikkim as per Article 371F. And this is done only to take care of the unique historical and political context of the state. Then let's talk about the role of delimitation commission. So here you would have guessed the role of delimitation commission from the definition of the delimitation. So in the definition of the delimitation, we discussed that it is about redrawing of the constituencies, of the territorial constituencies after each and every census. So why are we concerned about each and every census, the delimitation exercise being taken? So as to ensure the uniformity of the representation. And how that can be ensured? By abiding by the principle of one vote, one value. And how that is to be ensured? By taking equal population across constituencies. Okay, so what do you understand by one vote, one value system? Okay, and how it is to be ensured through equal population across constituencies? That we will be understanding taking an example over here. Suppose a country is having 1000 citizens. In scenario 1, you think that the country is divided into two constituencies, where constituency A is having 800 citizens and constituency B is having 200 citizens. And we know that during voting, each constituency has to elect one representative. Okay, and in this scenario, a vote in the constituency 1, which is having 800 citizens, has less weightage because it represents 4 times as many as people as the vote in the constituency B. So it violates the principle of one vote, one value, right? But in scenario 2, when the 1000 citizens, they are reorganized into 5 constituencies of 200 citizens each. So there, where each constituency will elect one representative, and the vote therefore will be having roughly the same weightage, as they represent similar numbers of people, as they represent equal number of people, that is 200 people. So this adheres to the one vote, one value principle, right? Understood? So we need to have equal population across constituencies in order to ensure one vote, one value principle, and that will bring uniformity of representation. So that is the role of delimitation commission. Again, the role of delimitation commission is to provide adequate representation of the vulnerable sections. Okay, that is by determining the reservation of the seats for SC and ST population. Again, it will also ensure the fair division of the geographical areas. Okay, so that the territorial constituencies are arranged in such a way that it has got equal population. So we have a fair division here through the delimitation commission, so that a political party does not have an advantage over others in an election. Okay, so here the number of territorial constituencies is equal to the population of the constituency by number of seats allocated. So here we can adhere to the principle of one vote, one value. Then coming to the number of seats in the Lok Sabha, how it was fixed based on the respective censuses. So based on 1951, 1961 and 1971 census, it was fixed at 494, 522 and 543 seats. And today we are fixed at 543 seats since 1971 census, when the population was 54.8 crore, and today the population has grown to huge numbers. So therefore the average population of 10 lakh per seat is still being followed in each and every election since 1971 census. And the aim of freezing as per 1971 census is to encourage the population control so that the states with higher population growth do not end up having higher number of seats. Okay, and this freezing was done through various amendments. That is 42nd Amendment Act. It froze till the year 2000, and it was extended by 84th Amendment Act till 2026. Okay, and this extension till 2026, it was done. It was justified on the ground that a uniform population growth rate would have been achieved throughout the country by 2026. But the scenario is different. The population has continued to grow over the years. So there comes the criticism of the delimitation exercise in India, which is stemming from the huge population growth that has happened over the years. So now legislators are representing unmanageable size of population as compared to the 1971 census. So therefore the democracy has weakened. Again, there is skipping of the delimitation exercise despite having the constitutional mandate of creating the delimitation commission after each and every census. Government has skipped the creation of the commission after the 1981, 1991 and 2011 census. Again, due to the population mismanagement, due to the population growth, huge growth seen in some states, and the management of population control in some states, there is a adverse effect on the equality of the votes. So here now the one vote, one value principle is getting violated, because in thickly populated states like UP and Bihar, the value of the votes is getting lowered, just that we discussed in the example. So the value of the votes in thickly populated states like in UP and Bihar, it is getting lowered as compared to the thinly populated states like northeast and southern states. So the equality of the votes is getting affected. Again, it is getting against the principle of federation, against the federal principles of our country, because we are punishing the states that is abiding with the population control. For example, the southern states. So if at all after 2026 we have a delimitation exercise, then the thickly populated states like UP and Bihar, they will end up getting higher number of seats in the Lok Sabha. So it will benefit those states who have not controlled their population so far. So it is like punishing the states who have controlled their population over the years. For example, the southern states. And therefore, the regional parties in the southern states, for example, they will have less bargaining power because their share of the seats will reduce in the Lok Sabha. So this is how the federal principles are also getting violated. Then it is also against the philosophy of freezing seats as per the 1971 census, because the whole philosophy behind freezing of the seats of 1971 census was to control the population. Okay, so here the states who are at better position in controlling the population, they are losing out on their political significance. The reason we have just discussed by taking the example of southern states. Again, this reason, this very argument will again fuel the separatist regional movements like Dravida Nadu. It will hamper the federal political structure of the country. So when their voices will not be heard, when their bargaining power will decrease because of their less share of the seats in the Lok Sabha, then it will fuel their regional movements. It will fuel separatism, right? So these are the main issues and criticism around the delimitation exercise. So let's now discuss what are the international practices. Take the case of US, where the number of seats in the Lok Sabha, that is the House of Representatives there, it has been capped at 435 since 1913, where the population of the country, it has increased almost 4 times. So there has been a redistribution after each and every census through the method of equal proportion but it has not resulted in any significant gain or loss in any of the states, right? Then take the case of European Union. It follows the principle of digressive proportionality, where the ratio of population to the number of seats shall increase as the population increases. Okay, just as the case of India. Okay, so these are the international practices. So coming to the way forward, what the article says that we have to maintain and uphold the federal principle. Okay, so for upholding and maintaining the federal principle, the number of MPs in the Lok Sabha, they can be capped at the present number of 543, creating no disruption in the representation, but the number of MLAs in each state may be increased in line with the current population in order to address the democratic representational requirement. Understood? Because we know that majority of the schemes of the central government, they have been implemented only by the state governments. Okay, so better to increase the number of MLAs in the state legislative assemblies to address the demographic changes, right? And the number of MPs we remain same. Then we can also incentivize the population controlling states like southern states through finance commission. So finance commission here to evolve a formula to reward the states who have controlled their population financially. Okay? Then the author says that better to focus all our energy in strengthening the democracy to empower the local bodies of panchayats and municipalities who are engaging with the citizens on a real-time basis, on a day-to-day basis. For example, we need to think more about the devolution of the powers and finances to the local bodies in order to strengthen the democracy at the grassroots levels. Okay, so this is the way forward. You can write it in your exam whenever you are getting a question regarding the delimitation exercise. So let's now cover a unique terminology, that is atmospheric river, which is important from your geography syllabus point of view. So what is atmospheric river, which has put millions of people at risk in California state? So this California state, it has received a record downpour after a storm hit the state. Around 7 lakh people, they were left in the dark, and the city witnessed mudslides, boulder sliding down the hillsides. So what is this atmospheric river? So it is kind of river flowing in the sky. You can see in the figure over here. So it is a narrow band of concentrated moisture in the atmosphere, and it has a vast amount of water vapor in it. Okay, so this is how a vast amount of water vapor is being transported over longer distances, which is from tropics towards the poles. Okay, and when they make landfall, then they can bring huge rainfall. Then they can bring strong winds, flooding, and snow at times. Okay, in cases of intense atmospheric river. And they can be around 1600 kilometers long. So you can imagine the amount of water vapor it can carry with it, which can result into huge downpour. Okay, and the width can be around 200 to 400 kilometers. Okay, and the flow, the regular flow, can be around twice the Amazon river flow. And at a time, according to NASA, we have around 11 present on the earth, and among the 11 we have 4 to 5 active atmospheric river at a time. Okay, so coming to the unique case of California, why it is particularly vulnerable to atmospheric rivers, and which is manifested every year because of its unique geography, because of the mountain Sierra Nevada, which acts as a barrier. You can see in the figure. So this mountain Sierra Nevada is acting as a barrier, forcing this moist air to rise and cool, which can lead to condensation and the precipitation. Okay, so you know the name of orographic rainfall, where the moisture hits the mountain and that results into huge downpour. Okay, this is first reason, because of the geography. Again, the second reason is about the longer coastline which the California state is having. That means the atmospheric rivers can make landfall directly there, bringing even more moisture and rainfall. Then an example of atmospheric river, that is Pineapple Express, you should be also knowing, which happened in 2019. So it was a very strong atmospheric river which again slammed the state of California in 2019, which is called as Pineapple Express, and which brought huge moisture from the tropics near Hawaii over to the US West Coast. Okay, so whenever this Pineapple Express is coming in the question, then you need to remember first thing that is related to the atmospheric river, second thing related to the place from where it picks up the moisture, that is near Hawaii, and then it brings rainfall to the US West Coast, right? Then coming to the benefits. So it is not that all the atmospheric rivers are dangerous. They are danger to the ecosystem. So some of the weak systems can be beneficial in bringing snow or rainfall, which is crucial for the water supply. Again, it is a key feature in the global water cycle as well. They are closely tied to both the water supply and the flood risk, particularly in the western United States. Again, it is a very good news for the aquatic life. For example, the Chinook salmon. So this is a good news that it can survive now because of the rains that suffered a lot during the dry years. Again, this mild rain can be a reason for resisting the wildfires in the forest. But again, huge rainfall can be a reason for the wildfires because huge rains can create or trigger the plantations, huge bushes and trees that again can result into wildfires. So it is both the cases. Mild rain, it can resist the wildfire, but huge rain can bring wildfires also. Okay, so these are the major benefits you should be knowing about the atmospheric river. So this was all about today's discussion. Again, the short notes of this video discussion will be provided to you in our Telegram channel, that is Kalamai's Academy. The link for joining our channel will be provided in the description box. So please do join us for all the important updates and notes. Okay, till then, goodbye, take care, thank you so much.